Welcome to Pick a Card, Any Card.
Where we pick a card
Any card.
and cast it from exile.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Devin.
Today's cards are Pull from Eternity
And Narset, Enlightened Master.
Continuing in our streak of misnomers and the infinite, Pull from Eternity is not quite properly named, I would say.
It kind of.
Maybe. We'll let you decide.
No, it's fairly accurate.
Well, it has nothing to do with infinity or eternity.
Well, you're pulling it from the eternity.
Okay.
And they're the blind eternity.
No.
Yeah.
The blind eternities is outside the game.
And exiled. Like, the exile is also, like, when you exile something, you actually, like, kill it beyond dead, and you get rid of it from the... It's not necessarily, like, out in the blind eternities, but it's, like, pretty much outside the plane in the blind eternities. It's like if you're laying in a puddle, you're not really underwater, but you're not dry, you're still wet, and you're still in water.
Alright. Okay. Pull from Eternity is a 1 white mana instant. Put target face-up exiled card into its owner's graveyard. The flavor text on this card is not at all flavorful, I don't think.
This flavor text doesn't make any sense.
The flavor text reads, It is best to conquer dragons before they have Femerif added.
Which, it does make sense, but it has like zero connection to this card.
It is generally better to defeat a dragon before it hatches. What does that have to do with pulling something out of the blind eternities?
Yeah, like, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. Like, that is kind of like a time travel, like, it's like a time travel, like, card or quote, I guess.
Okay.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. Flavor fail. Get out of here with your crap card.
So, Pull from Eternity is an uncommon from Time Spiral, which, time travel, time spiral.
I guess.
It makes sense.
Was there by chance a dragon that you exiled, like a suspend dragon? Was suspend a time?
Suspend was Time Spiral.
Okay, so maybe it was specifically for suspend cards.
It was definitely printed for suspend cards.
Okay, like I didn't think about that, but like now that I think about it, like context of the set, it is a good flavor text,
right?
But once
you get outside of the context. Now, originally this card was meant to do one of two things. It was either meant to stop your opponent from casting something with suspend by removing it from exile and putting it into the graveyard. It was also meant to pull your own suspend cards out of exile and put them in the graveyard in case they had been countered and you had some sort of graveyard recursion. So,
does suspend work that way if someone counters? No, they can't counter the suspend ability.
You can counter the suspend ability.
I guess with Stifle, they can't like counterspell it with like counter target stuff.
If for some reason the ability that lets you cast the card without paying its mana cost is interrupted or countered or something, the card remains in exile. If you cannot cast the card, it stays in exile, it's no longer suspended, it's gone for good.
Can you pull up suspend for me?
Yeah.
Because...
Alright, after a brief rules lookup, I did misspeak. It's not counter. If your opponent counters the spell, you've already cast it and it does go to your graveyard. But if they prevent you from casting it in some way, or some other event prevents you from casting it,
in response to the one ability, they like silence you. That's like the best one I can think of. It's like you can't cast spells, so you can't cast it without paying its mana cost, so it just stays exiled.
Yeah. So Pull from the Blind Eternities would let you pull it into your graveyard, at which point you could do some graveyard recursion and potentially get it back.
Yeah. Though with the flavor text, I really think it was meant to just be like, yeah, that suspend thing you got? No.
Right. It's something like Greater Gargadon, which is this gigantic creature, suspend 10 for 1 red.
Yeah.
But we don't live in the time spiral block anymore.
That was a long time ago.
We have more interesting and fun ways to use this card. So, back for the, 3rd, 4th week in a row? Whip of Erebos.
Oh my god.
Do you want to just keep whipping things back from...
Normally I'd get mad at you, but like, Whip of Erebos and Pull from Eternities work really well together.
You want to make it even more disgusting? Wow. Isochron Scepter.
Yeah.
Isochron Scepter, the pull from Eternity.
Isochron Scepter plus any card that Isochron Scepter can use is almost always really good.
Right, but sure, 4 cards and you can infinitely whip back...
Pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? Is it any creature? Yeah, you can bring back any creature with Whip of Erebos.
Yeah. So if you just want to keep poking away at your opponent with a 1/1, you can just keep...
With lifelink now.
Yes, it does have lifelink. I'm not going to talk about Whip of Erebos forever. You guys know what it does. We've talked about it plenty. I just thought it was hilarious with Pull from Eternity.
Yep.
It gives you a second chance. What gets even more fun, Snapcaster Mage. Or any card with flashback.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You flashback, exile it,
bring it back,
bring it
flashback
back
it again.
Flash it back again. This is why Snapcaster Mage is like $60.
Well, Snapcaster Mage is just really good.
Yeah.
Pull for Eternity works well with it.
Right.
Like you'd have to go big into the flashback deck.
Well, if you are gonna do it, Runic Repetition.
Target exile card with flashback to your own hand.
So flashback, Runic Repetition, Snapcaster Mage, Runic Repetition, flash it back, pull it back from the grave. Oh, I just made my head hurt.
That could work. Like, I think my favorite flashback card was, what is it? Cackling Counterpart.
Oh,
Put
yeah.
a copy of something on the battlefield. So you just put a copy of something on the battlefield, flashback. It was like flashback for like 7, though.
Okay, bear with me.
Alright.
Murica Flashback. Red, white, blue, Snapcaster Mage, Pull from Eternity, Past in Flames.
Yeah, Past in Flames. You say this, but I'm actually going to mention Past in Flame on my card. And
Perfect.
You'll find out later when I actually
So
tell you.
we have this wonderful segue that came way too soon.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, Runic Repetition just gives you way more use out of everything.
Yeah, it's better and worse at the same time than Pull from Eternities. It's better at dealing with your own stuff, but it's worse at dealing with your own stuff.
Yeah. So the fun thing about Pull from Eternity is target face-up exiled card into its owner's graveyard.
I like the concept that you can target exiled things.
Yes. But what I want to point out is any exiled card. If you're playing Two-Headed Giant and your opponent flashed something back, or your opponent had something exiled, you can just drop it into their graveyard for them.
Yeah?
It doesn't matter who it belongs to. You know what else is great? It doesn't care if your opponent has hexproof.
Now, I'm trying to think of it, but I do know you could really ruin someone's day if someone's playing a Madness deck. I don't think you can because like the way the stack works, but
no, you cannot interrupt Madness. Madness has been specifically designed so that you cannot interrupt it by messing around with the exile.
Yeah,
I've looked into it.
Like I do know there was a lot of like question of like, can I do it with these cards? Or like, is there a conceivable way to do it? Because it's just vague enough that people are like, I think there's a way around it, but no one's actually found a way around it yet.
Right. There's actually been 3 different wordings for Madness over time, and it just keeps getting tighter. You know what else?
I do like the most recent version of Madness.
Yeah, I think it's
they nice and tie it up like this. Shut up! This is a step-by-step how you Madness.
Yeah, it's really nice. So you know what else Pull from Eternity will do?
What?
Let's say your opponent just attacked you with Meandering Tower Shell.
That turtle's no longer.
Oh, yeah.
I love Meandering Tower Shell.
It's a card I want to talk... we have to talk about Meandering Tower Shell at some point.
One day.
But yeah, your opponent attacks you with a Meandering Tower Shell. It exiles itself. You say, and now you're dead. That is how they killed the Meandering Tower Shell.
Yep, that's one way you can kill Obsidian Ghost Council.
Yeah.
When they exile itself. Like,
you know what else it kills?
What?
Oh, what was the red card that you wanted to do? The Coward.
Oh, Norn the Wary?
Norn the Wary.
Yeah.
It kills Norn the Wary.
Yep. Yes, it does. I just like Norn's so like, no, I gotta go, and like Pull from Eternity's like, no, get back here.
This card is a very simple card, but it has so many hilarious interactions.
It is. It's one of those things that like it does something that you so rarely see that it's interesting to think about all the things you can do with it.
You know what else it works with?
What?
Glittering Wish.
That's a fog?
No.
Glittering. Oh, Glittering Wish. That's the one green-white spell that lets you just get anything you want from outside the game.
Yep.
Put in your deck.
And you have to exile Glittering Wish. Well,
Oh,
I wanted something else.
Yeah, that you mentioned it. You could work with any of the recent take an extra turn cards.
Yeah.
Like Part the Weather Veil or Days Undoing, which is...
Right. It also works with Treasured Find, which you exile Treasured Find.
I'm not sure what Treasured Find is.
Treasured Find is a green and a black. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Treasured Find. At sorcery speed, it's not as good as it could be, but it actually, talking about green-black, brings me to another card that this works well with. Veryl's the Scarstripe.
Oh, Veryl's. Yeah, I like him. He's one of my...
He is my favorite Maze Runner.
He's one of my favorites. I really like him. Mainly the fact that he makes an interesting deck, but my biggest problem with him is that I just don't like Golgari.
I love Golgari.
Like, I didn't like Golgari in Ravnica. Like, I like Varol's and I like Vraska. That's about it.
So, Veryl's is a legendary creature troll warrior. He's 3 mana for a 2/2, a generic, a green, and a black. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge. The Scavenge cost is equal to its mana cost. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Scavenge, basically what Scavenge does is you pay a cost, you exile the card from your graveyard, and put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that card's power on target creature. And you can only scavenge as a sorcerer. Veryl's also has a secondary ability of sacrifice another creature to regenerate it. So you can sacrifice a creature, regenerate Veryl's, scavenge that creature away. Now what's great about...
Make him even bigger.
What's great about Veryl's is the fact that he actually lowers the scavenge cost on a lot of the scavenge creatures.
Oh yeah, because a lot of scavenge is usually way higher than the actual card.
Yeah, so if you're going to run scavenge, you basically have to run him. If you want to...
You don't have to, but you probably
You really should.
Like, I've seen a couple EDH decks.
He's honestly a 4-of. If you're going to run scavenge, 4 of the Veryl's.
Maybe not 4 of, due to the fact that he's legendary.
Doesn't matter.
If you get two in his hand, I guess what you could do is sacrifice him.
Play one, sack one, scavenge it away, make the one you just played bigger.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe play 3 of. Just even that out.
You really want to have him. He's a card we could talk about later. Moving on to Pull from the Blind Eternities.
Fine.
Any card you scavenge away, you can bring back to do it again.
That is true. Keep doing it. I mean, you can't really keep casting Pull from Eternities. Anyway, Pull from Eternities.
Pull from Eternities is great. If your opponents cast Rift Bolt, suspend 1 for a red. You're just like, no thank you, sir.
Oh, that's suspend interaction.
Yep. It basically just shuts
weird,
down
like,
suspend.
I was like, ooh, what does Rift Bolt do with it? And like, oh, that suspend that we talked about 10 minutes ago.
You know what?
We've already covered that. You're just bringing up a card now.
Yeah. No, there's a combo. I think it's a legacy combo. I'm pretty sure it's a legacy combo that Pull from Eternity will absolutely shut down. And that is the Food Chain Mist Hollow Griffin combo. Now, if you're not familiar with this combo, it's hilarious. Food Chain is 2 mana and a green for an enchantment. Exile a creature you control. Add X mana of any one color to your mana pool, where X is the exiled creature's converted mana cost +1. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. Mist Hollow Griffin is 4 mana, 2 colorless and 2 blue, for a flying griffin. It's a 3/3, which you may cast from exile. Food Chain, exile the griffin, play the griffin, exile the griffin, infinite mana, then, I don't know,
whatever you want.
Do something
because
stupid.
You have infinite mana.
Right.
Cast the griffin more times just to irritate your opponent. Don't do anything with it.
But as soon as they exile the griffin, you can pull from Eternities, drop the griffin into the graveyard, and you've just shut down their combo, and they've got 5 blue mana they can't do anything with.
Yep.
Because it pretty much has to be blue.
Yeah. I mean, the only 2 of it has to be blue. They could just
No,
use
it's
the mana.
any one color.
Oh, yeah. They'll do it because they're like, yeah, I'm getting blue for the griffin.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah, they unless they're doing something weird, they're going to pay the blue for the griffin. Or they're going to exile the griffin, get blue mana to cast the griffin again, but they can't cast the griffin again because
they still net the 5 mana.
Yes.
So it stops the combo, but it doesn't
shut them down entirely. They've got to figure out what to do with 5 blue mana in a green-blue deck.
Yeah. Well, that's not hard. As a guy who plays plenty of green-blue decks. You can easily sink 5 mana into Prophet of Krufix or something.
Yeah. But yeah, this deck usually runs a few fetch cards and then some ludicrous bomb that you just ramp into and then explode.
I think it's an interesting concept to run it in like EDH deck. Like if you happen to have your commander being exiled.
Yeah.
Because if it somehow is exiled and you
can
choose
put it
in your...
You can choose to allow it to go into exile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like if some reason it stays exiled. Like if you're running Knowing the Wary and someone's like, yeah, counter the ability to bring it back. It's permanently exiled. Like, well, crap.
Or you just let them try to exile your card thinking, oh, he's going to put it back in the command zone and it's going to cost him more mana to cast. Pull from Eternity into the graveyard, and here I recurse it back out onto the field because screw you.
Yeah. What other card? Is that Treasure Cruise at the end of there?
No, it's Treasure Define.
Oh, Treasure Cruise would also work because of any Delve.
Yeah. Oh man, this works great with Delve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could delve away cards from your graveyard to cast Treasure Cruise and then pull back something important.
Yep, good card.
Yeah, any delve. It doesn't help Dredge that much because Dredge just deals with the graveyard.
Yeah, you don't really exile.
Dredge doesn't exile. Now, admittedly, this card was most definitely meant to stop your opponents
from suspending, and now suspend is really not a thing.
Right. So now I just like to think of ways, how can I make this work for me? How can I make this do work?
It'd be really hard with the fact that it puts it in your graveyard, so you'd have to go through that extra step of interacting with whatever's in your graveyard to make it worth it.
Elixir of Immortality.
I guess. Then
why not?
Like I said, you have to take that extra step of dealing with something in your graveyard. That's an extra step you have to take. And then now, with Elixir of Immortality, now you have to take the extra step of somehow getting it from your deck into your hand or onto the field.
If I'm running an Elixir of Immortality, I'm not worried. I've got time.
Elixir of Immortality is good. It's not that good.
I've got time.
Okay. Actually.
And I specifically run Elixir in decks that allow me to have time.
I run Elixir of Immortality in decks exclusively so I don't mill. And I'm pretty sure that's why people run Elixir of Immortality in their decks.
No, I run it just because it gives me 5 life and puts my graveyard back into my deck, meaning I don't need to worry about ever running out of things like removal. Just run a deck made of straight removal. I'll never run out.
Yeah, that's true.
I ran Elixir.
Eventually you'll keep getting land.
No, eventually you'll have played all your land.
That is true. Eventually you would have played all your land. There's a blue spell that you can just search your library for any number of lands.
I want that.
It's like 2 mana.
That's amazing. Let's talk about that.
I think it's on my list of blue cards, but you can
I
have it if you find it and want it.
It doesn't matter which one of us talks about it.
That is true. I think I'm out of things to talk about.
Well, then let's get out of Eternity and move on to Enlightenment, shall we?
Yeah. Let's talk about Narset, Enlightened Master, who is a 6-drop creature from Khans of Tarkir. She is actually the head Khan of Tarkir. Not Tarkir.
Right.
Head Khan of
Jeskai,
who is, at least in my, I think Jeskai was kind of like the head one, the one that was kind of most in charge, or like the best one.
They were monks.
Yeah, they're monks, but like, no, they didn't hate, and no one really hated Jeskai, and Jeskai didn't hate anyone back, and it was kind of...
That's because they're monks.
That's true.
Doesn't mean they're in charge, it just means that they're monks.
They seemed in charge to me, and I think that was just because Jeskai was very clearly
they weren't at war with everyone.
Everyone was at war with everyone. But I think Jeskai was Jeskai was the clan that was not the clan, was the color combination that just essentially was the best one, other than Abzan. Right off the bat, when Khans of Tarkir came out, it was essentially Jeskai.
Yeah, everybody wanted to play Jeskai Ascendancy.
Yeah, it was Jeskai Ascendancy combo that just wrecked everything for like 2 weeks, and then people stopped playing it because then Abzan won because Siege Rhino.
Yeah, Jeskai Ascendancy plays really well until people would go, wait a minute, I know how to deal with this.
I can actually disrupt this pretty easily. So, as I was saying, Narset was like the head Khan of Khans of Tarkir. She was a mythic rare in the original Khans of Tarkir before the time shenanigans happened. So she is a 3/2 legendary creature human monk for 3 generic, a blue a red, and a white. So 3 generic and America. She has First Strike and Hexproof, which are 2 very, very good abilities to have.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're a 3/2.
Yep.
And a legendary creature. Especially if you're someone's commander.
Now, at this point, we've got 6 mana for a 3/2 First Strike Hexproof. She's got to have some meat to her somewhere, because right now this is a really bad card.
Like, she is terrible.
I'd pay maybe 5 mana. Maybe. I'd probably only pay 4.
I wouldn't pay 5 at all. Like, I would pay maybe 4 if it was 1 color. I would not pay 4 mana of 3 different colors for this card thus far. But this last ability actually doesn't make her any better. Her final ability is, whenever Narset Enlightened Master attacks, exile the top 4 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast non-creature cards exiled with Narset this turn without paying their mana costs.
Hey, you know what's a non-creature spell?
Omniscience.
Or Pull from Eternity.
That works too. And you can put those lands that were exiled into your graveyard. Oh my god.
Or if you happen to have another creature. I'm sure your deck is creatureless except for her.
What? How did you know? Yeah. I actually made an EDH deck with Narset, and she is the only creature in there because her ability doesn't let me cast creatures. So why run? And also Proteus stuff, which I'll explain later. You can only cast non-creature cards, which means you can't play lands with her, and you can't cast creatures. But you can cast whatever else you want. So she is really, really good. I'm going to point out,
you need to build around her. She's not an incidental card.
Oh, definitely. Especially like you don't just happen to be running America and just happen to be running primarily.
I mean,
instants and sorceries.
I guess you could. She does pair with Jeskai Ascendancy quite well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
she works with Jeskai Ascendancy, but like she doesn't.
I would play this with Jeskai Ascendancy.
Yeah,
draw all the cards. All of them.
Only draw 4. This is when she attacks, not when she taps.
No, but you attack, and then there's 4 cards exiled, cast 4 cards, draw 4 cards, and then you've got to discard 4 cards.
Well, hold on. It's when you... Jeskai Ascendancy is when you cast a... Yeah, pull up Jeskai Ascendancy so I actually know what I'm talking about. Because you have to actually have creatures in order to make her work.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap those creatures.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. She's a creature. She attacks, exile 4, cast, Jeskai Ascendancy kicks. She gets +4/+4. Let's take Happy Path here. She gets +4/+4. Untaps. You can draw 4 cards.
That is pretty good.
I mean, then you have to discard 4 cards, but you just...
I do run Jeskai Ascendancy in my deck.
You have a 7/6 Narset with First Strike.
I was convinced that the draw bit was if you cast a creature spell.
No.
So, I was wrong. Anyway.
I don't know why you would be convinced of that.
I don't know. It was just a memory thing.
It specifically says non-creature.
It does. It's just because it works with both creatures and non-creature spells. I forgot which one's which. Anyway, I want to talk about the art because I actually really like the background of it. I don't like her pose. But my favorite part of the art is the fact that her staff thing looks really dumb.
Your favorite part of the art is the worst part of the art?
Yes. To me, it looks like she just stabbed a banana with it.
Maybe she did.
Like, no, it is clearly part of the staff thing. The flippy thing looks like the banana
peel of the banana,
just, flipping her through. That's the funniest part of the art. She was actually a pre-release promo. In case you didn't know.
I did not know that.
I
wasn't really playing during the cons block.
I was playing just a little bit. Not a lot, though. But another fun fact about her is that Narset, in story-wise, became a planeswalker. As you know, she became Narset Transcendent, which I think has way better art.
Yeah.
Like, the art for Narset Transcendent is way better. Though, it kind of makes sense, because this Narset is supposed to be like an enlightened monk. She's not supposed to be a fighter.
Right.
She's just a monk.
It's interesting
enlightened Narset Transcendent. Like, she is power. She is control.
It's interesting that when you take the red away, she becomes more feisty.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
Weird
sense.
Enough. Well, it's yeah.
You take away the red, and she becomes more feisty.
She becomes, a better card. Because in all honesty, I think the Planeswalker's.
Oh yeah,
that she is really good. Little swap under the rug, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do like her. I like her in the flavor. Fun fact: in this story, really all that Narset did was like her and Sarkhan just like met up, and he's like, "Yeah, I need help finding Ugin's sanctum."
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, I know where that is. Cool." And they traveled together and fell in love. Heavily implied they fell in love. And then like towards the end there, right, like pretty much got there, and Zergo showed up.
Right.
And Zergo's like, I'm gonna kill you. And Narset's like, no, don't. I will hold him off. Sarkhan, you go do the thing you gotta do. And he's like, okay. And he left. And then Zergo killed her. And it was sad. Fun fact, Zergo is a 7-2.
Yes.
Narset is a 3-2 first strike. Now, Narset, on normal circumstances, would kill Zergo and survive.
Yes.
However, Zergo has the ability of, if he's attacking, or if it's your turn, so if you're attacking,
right,
Zergo is indestructible. So the only way that Zergo beats Narset is if he's on the offensive and he's the one attacking her, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And she is the one blocking, which normally you wouldn't do because then she would die.
Right.
So in my head, the literal play is like, all right, I swing Zergo at Sarkhan. You know, your Planeswalker Sarkhan is like, oh, I can't let that happen. I block with Narset. Narset dies. So I really like that little interaction.
It does seem like somebody, like a couple of people just playing Magic.
Yeah, it's almost exactly what happened.
That's how they write the story. They develop the cards, and then they play a couple of games of Magic.
Yep.
And then they're like, all right, so this is how it happened.
Yep. I really like that. And then, unfortunately, then they went back in time. This is good news. When Sarkhan went back in time, he saved Narset.
Well, yeah, because Zergo became a coward, so he couldn't have killed Narset.
Well, almost nothing could have happened. Like, none of the people who were alive in the original con should have been alive, because the dragons would have killed a good portion of people.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about this.
Time travel. But it all makes enough sense if you just ignore a lot of...
If you ignore everything. Moving on.
So getting away from the story, cards that work really well with Narset. See, the words that actually convinced me to make Narset EDH, because I was always considering it, but then I was always considering, because I really like Narset, and I'm like, expensive cards like Omniscience and the Infinite. I heard it was Cam from Loading Ready Run. They were doing a bit, and Narset's like, oh, Narset, well, what you do is you attack with Narset, show off Omniscience and Enter the Infinite, cast both of them for free, draw your entire library, cast your entire library, Past in Flames, cast your entire library again, and then Grape Shot for 200. Why am I not running this deck? And I'm like, why am I not running this deck? It's like, because that sounded awesome. Unfortunately, if you play Past in Flames and Omniscient don't work. Because Omniscient says you have to cast it from your...
That's true.
Past in Flame gives a flash.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you can't cast it twice, but you can cast your entire library.
And then Grape Shot for 100.
Yep. For less than 100, because a good portion more lands, but you get the idea.
Whatever.
Still, that was when I I'm gonna make my practically my first EDH deck. So yeah, Omniscience, if you guys don't know yet, it is a 10 mana spell. It is an enchantment. It's 7 colorless and 3 blue that says, you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana cost. All your spells are free. Anyway, in my deck, you'd cast Narset and you swing, and ideally you'd be like, top deck, oh look, Omniscience, cast Omniscience. Now everything in my library is free as long as I have it in my hand. But what if I run out of cards in my hand?
Because you will, because you're playing Omniscience and nothing costs any mana.
All for free. So you run something like Enter the Infinite, which is...
even more ridiculous.
It is more expensive. It is a 12 mana spell from Return to Ravnica. No, it's Gatecrash.
It's Gatecrash.
So the Return to Ravnica block. Anyway, Enter the Infinite is 12 mana, 8 colorless, 4 blue. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your library. Then, put a card from your hand on the top of your library. You have no maximum hand side until your next turn.
My favorite part of this card is the flavor text.
What's the flavor text?
Don't just have an idea. Have all of them.
Oh, Niv
Quote by Niv Mizzet. All ideas are good ideas!
They just may not work sometimes. What's the quote from Kung Fu? There is no bad news. There is whatever the bad guy's name is. Hung Fui got out of prison. Oh, bad news. Anyway, Enter the Infinite. Pretty much draw every card in your library and put a garbage land at the top. and you have 2 turns. You draw a card on your neck, then you have to do stuff.
And island.
Yeah, so you essentially do that. So you have just like, you have a buffer. So someone after that resolves, someone can be like, all right, you draw 2 cards. Good game. But Enter the Infinite, really
that
good.
means your opponent's playing blue, and nobody plays blue, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm running blue, because no one sees it coming. Especially if my commander is blue and red and white, because they're like, oh, it's red and white. That means it's like an aggro red-white deck, right? It's like, nah, it's blue control.
No!
I tricked you the whole time. So, if
no one expects the Narset Inquisition.
Yeah. Assuming you're not in Magical Christmas Land, where you play Narset and then swing and then get both Omniscience and Enter the Infinite at the same time.
I live in Magical Christmas Land all the time, every day.
Like, what other cards could you play? A lot of the cards I play in my deck are take extra turn cards.
Because you just like to completely screw with people.
Yep. The main one I run is Beacon of Tomorrows, which is 8 mana, 6 colorless, and 2 blue. Most of these cards are blue.
I'm almost certain that this card is actually a different card.
Beacon of Tomorrows?
I'm pretty sure this card is actually Knowledge.
The art looks exactly like Knowledge Pool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, but that is the Knowledge Pool, but the Beacon itself is the Beacon.
I'll buy it.
Alright. So anyway, Beacon of Tomorrows. It's a sorcery, cost 8 mana. Target player takes an extra turn after this one. Shuffle Beacon of Tomorrows into its owner's library. The reason I mention this one is because if I do manage to get Magical Christmas Land off, do get the Omniscience and the Infinite combo off.
Which is Magical Christmas Land.
I can't just win on those turns. Even though I have stuff, I don't have, I burn you for $1 million. It's just my things are free. I still can't pay X costs.
I mean, you can still Grape Shot.
Yeah, there's stuff I can do, but it's a lot harder to kill, 6 people at a table if you just... It is surprisingly difficult to kill 6 people with your entire library in your hand and casting all your spells for free. Especially if you're running the Narset.
I have to ask, do you run Elixir of Immortality in this deck?
Of course I run Elixir of Immortality in this deck.
Okay, because otherwise I'd call you an idiot and slap you, and then we'd quit this podcast forever.
Well, this card is actually better. And the reason for that is because regardless of every other card in your deck, if you have Beacon of Tomorrows, and the other one I run is Beacon of Destruction, which is the same concept, it's 6 mana, but it's red. Deal 5 damage to target creature or player, shuffle it in your library. What do? Once I get everything in my hand, I'm like, cool, Beacon of Tomorrow, take another turn after them, Beacon of Destruction.
And then you just spend the rest of your life attacking with Narset and exiling those 2 and casting them all day.
I actually wouldn't even attack with Narset.
Why not?
Because that would require me having Narset. And also because what I would do, I would exile them up to my library. So what I would do is I'd draw for a turn, have Jace or something that just draws me a card, draw the other one, burn, take another turn, shuffle my library. Next turn, draw one, draw an additional one for whatever. Boom, boom, take another turn.
So you're basing your EDH deck on not having your commander?
No, that is just one of the win cons. That's the fastest and easiest way to explain to people why I win.
Okay.
Instead of being like, all right, well, I wrath the board, wait 10 turns, so that way make infinite turns, wait 10 turns so I can cast my commander, who's 12 mana now. Because that's one thing I've noticed about Narset. It is very common that I cast Narset for 12. It just happens because people are like, I wrath Narset. It's but Narset, it's Narset, dude.
Why are you not protecting her more?
Oh, I am protecting her quite a bit. People are just relentless. Also, one guy in my playgroup just has a wrath deck.
Oh.
And what am I supposed to do? Just not play? So I'm I know you're gonna wrath in 2 turns, but I'm still gonna play my Narset now so I can have fun. There are ways that I give Narset haste, so it's Narset, swing.
Beacon of Tomorrows. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, stuff like that happens. But probably another group of cards I actually run a lot are the ones that give me additional combat steps, World at War.
Oh, yeah.
Just because Narset's ability is when she attacks, not when she deals damage to a player or to a creature, it's when she attacks.
Right.
So, no, pretty much since she has Hexproof, no one can do anything about it.
Yeah. You're not running creatures, so you can't run the angel that gives you an extra combat every time she attacks.
Yeah. Which is one of the most annoying things about my deck.
There are so many creatures that could benefit you.
I know. There are a lot of creatures, I really wanted to run Ludovic's Test Subject, because I love Ludovic's Test Subject. And Thing in the Ice would work, because I run so many instants and sorceries.
Yeah, you'd flip it almost immediately.
Yeah,
attack with Narset would flip Thing in Ice.
Yeah. I need to retool this deck, because the deck is good, but it's not fun.
It's almost unbeatable in single player.
It's not unbeatable. It's nowhere near unbeatable.
I said almost.
Yeah, it's not fun. It is really
No,
good.
it's not. It's not
but
fun.
it's not fun. And one of the reasons it's not fun is because a little card called Proteus Staff, which essentially is Magical Christmas Land card on a stick, because it's a Proteus Staff. What Proteus Staff
Staffs
is...
are sticks.
They are sticks. This one's a Proteus stick. It's a special one, so it's a staff. Anyway, Proteus Staff is a 3-mana artifact.
It's made of hands.
It is made of hand. It is a very handy staff. So, 3-mana artifact that has pay 3, tap. Put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library. That creature's controller reveals the cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card. The player puts that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of his library in any order. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Oh god, I've been doing this wrong. I've been cheating.
Ha!
I can't tell anyone about this. So, if it wasn't for that activate anytime you could cast a sorcery bit, how I would run this would be, is that I would swing with Narset. Narset's ability goes on the stack. So I'm still gonna run this card, but not do it the way I've been telling people.
Yeah, no, you just
Like-
you made your combo not so good no more.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, Narset is the only creature in my deck. So, if I have Narset and I use Proteus Staff on Narset, I put her at the bottom of my library, reveal my entire library, until I reveal her, who is at the bottom, put her back onto the battlefield, and just put my deck in any order.
This means that I get to see your whole library.
You do get to see my whole library.
And I can take as long as I want reading every single card in it.
Yep.
Is that technically delay of game?
Yes.
I don't think it is.
I could call a judge for slow play.
Could you? Because I don't think it's slow play
Definitely.
if you're trying to understand the cards have been revealed.
Mm-hmm.
If any card that you can see, you have the right to be able to look at and understand.
Mm-hmm.
If you just lay out your deck
It
to
depends
me.
on how to do it, because how you'd actually have to do it, you just have to resolve the spell, so you'd reveal a card. Not a thing. What is it? It's this. Okay. Reveal the next one. What is it? It's this. What's this? What's this? If I said, like, all right, reveal a spell, hold on, only write down write down what it does, write down, like, its converted mana cost, write down interactions with cards you've previously, or just like, dude, come on.
That
Like-
I think could be slow play. But
Yeah.
if I just take the time to read and mentally go over the spell,
Just like that's
I
what that
don't
does.
think
Like,
that's slow play.
That's what that does. Yeah, like, if you do it at a reasonable pace, like, because just the resolution will take forever. But it's like, what is it? Elixir. I know Elixir does. What's that? Like, I don't know what
Really,
that
at
does.
this
What's that?
point, I would literally just, as you flipped them out, I would lay them in.
Yeah, so don't tell any of my friends have been playing this wrong. But anyway,
Don't tell anyone who's listening to this podcast.
Yep. So how I've been playing it, because I didn't read it. The original version of it, I could have sworn didn't have the sorcery bit on it. What it was is I would swing Narset. Okay, in response to her ability on the sack, activate Proteus Staff,
Which is cheating.
cheating.
Moving on.
Mhm. I want to explain it because
I'm saying.
moving on, put her at the bottom of the library, reveal the whole library, put her on the battlefield, stack the deck. Her ability resolves, exile the top 4, which I just put there, show, enter the infinite omniscience, play my entire...
Let me be honest, though. You could just do this before you attack and still get the same benefit.
No, because it doesn't give her haste.
It doesn't need to. You just do it. You do it the turn before you attack.
Yeah, you just put like 2 or 3 cards. You put your
You
stuff
put
in
one card above the 4 that you want.
Yeah, so I've been cheating, but I've not been cheating that bad. I technically
Right.
would just give my opponents an additional turn.
And if you have things that give her haste, put that on top of your library and then draw a card.
and then do it again. Stuff like that. But yeah, I've been technically cheating, but whatever. It puts me back.
You're a dirty, dirty cheater.
I am a dirty, dirty cheater. Luckily, I've played this deck like 3 times, and I've only used
Yeah,
Proteus
because
Staff.
nobody wants to play because it's not
because
fun.
this deck is not fun at all. Like, that is why I don't play it often. Like, I made it, and I'm like, yeah, I really like it in theory, because like I brewed it, and like, this is my first deck. And then like I realized it's not fun. It breaks like 4 of the cardinal rules of fun EDH. Like, one of them is no one cares if you're taking extra turns. Like, unless you take them fast, no one cares. Just make it quick, because no one wants to sit here and watch you take turns for 2 hours. And I wasn't that bad, but there were times where someone's like, oh, well, I'm going to mess with Devin on his extra turns. It's just like, I'm going to have to play, like, super cautiously now and actually take time on my turns and make this game last forever, right? Another thing about the deck is, since I ran no creatures, I ran a whole bunch of wraths. So I was just constantly wrathing the board, and one of them was Cataclysm, which wrath lands, which is another cardinal rule of fun Magic, especially EDH, is do not wrath lands, because people just concede. Because, like, no, I'm not playing this game anymore. Why not? Because it's not fun anymore.
It stopped being fun when you took us all back to ground zero.
And most of us don't even have hands. There's only one time where I realized that I had it, and I'm like, I can't play this, because, like, there were many times. There's only one time I actually played it anyway, and that was because, like, all right, guys, I'm going to win now. Like, I didn't have my super Happy Christmas Land combo off, but, like, it was my way of saying, all right, I've ruined your guys' board state. I have enough mana to play Narset and just keep playing and keep you guys down. Cataclysm. Do you guys concede because I'm going to win this? And, like, two people are like, yeah, I concede because I can't win this anymore. I'm like, good. And one guy's like, no, I can still win this. I'm like,
no, see, that's
fine. And just, like, I just spent, like, the next 10 minutes just, like, swing Narset, play the top 4 cards in my library, and just, like, big stuff, big stuff, big stuff. And I just have, like, a nuts field. And he'd be like, turn 4? Cool, I have my second land. Haha, it's like, cool, I swing at you for the 28th commander damage. You lose. Are you happy now?
Yeah, I would not have.
There's a reason why I played this deck like one. Went with this deck with one play session, and then went, yeah, I am not doing that again. Because that was
Everybody
not
has
fun.
those decks that they occasionally break out that no one wants to play against.
Yeah.
You break it out against new people.
Yep.
People who you've been playing with for a long time and are willing to tolerate your stupidity.
Yeah. But everyone has a deck, and then there's that, like, is really good.
It was,
like, this is the one for me.
It was fun to brew. That's the key. It was fun to brew. I have a couple of decks that I never play. Mm-hmm. They were fun to brew. Yeah.
Well, I actually enjoyed playing this, but the biggest drawback of Narset, of my Narset deck, like, there are many other Narset decks that work better. The biggest drawback to mine, the one I made, is that it just won at one. Like, right. Until that point, you barely played the game. You just wrathed and irritated, and occasionally swung a Narset to get some other things, but then just like, okay, I win now. And it's like, oh, well, that was fun, I guess. No one enjoys when someone in a multiplayer game combos.
Right.
No one cares.
That is why the EDH deck that I built, that I am most proud of, doesn't use the Good Taste.
Yeah. Good Taste does combo really easy. Well, there's a difference between infinite combo off, like, combo is technically a combination, so like, oh, these cards work together really well.
But when you say combo off, you mean win because of your combo.
Yeah, you like go infinite combo just win. And you use it to just win, yeah.
I picked the Tesa that allows me to play the colors I wanted, and people don't just hate me for putting a Tesa in the command zone.
The problem is new Tesa is just not very good.
But I don't play her.
Well, like, in my opinion, new Tesa doesn't actively do anything.
She's not in the deck to do anything.
Yeah, I know, but, like, that's...
She's my commander because it's flavorful.
Okay, I'll give you that.
She is the leader of Orzhov.
Yeah, then you... No, she is not. She is the, She is not the leader. The leader is the Ghost Council.
She is basically in charge of the Orzhov.
Yeah, she is in charge of the Orzhov, just like the Queen is in charge of Britain.
No, the Ghost Council is in charge of the Orzhov, like...
I thought you were about to say the Ghost Council was in charge of Britain.
There it is, people. There's our Brexit joke.
Yeah! The Ghost Council is in charge of Britain. Anyway, but yeah, if you're gonna play multiplayer, don't make a deck that will combo off. Like, don't make that the focus of the deck. Don't make that how the deck wins. If you have infinite combos, but it's like 4 cards, and like, I'm never gonna get this off, but one day you do... Like, right. That's kind of worth it, because no one sees it coming. I know one guy who, like, he literally just sits there and it's like, all right, I combo off and win. Just like, that was boring. But if you attack him, he's like, oh, God, why are you attacking me? I'm not doing anything. I'm like, yeah, but if we don't attack you, you're going to combo off and win. Just like, I'm not having any fun, because I don't get to do anything. It's like, because your deck is made specifically to not to do anything.
Right.
Thank you for listening to Pick a Card, Any Card. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or card suggestions, you can email us at
pacac.cast@gmail.com.
Or you can leave them in the comments below.
pacac
Ah, you fucked up again.
It's not my fault I made our thing a tongue twist.
Yes, it is your fault.